Look at factoring when we have three terms. So we are going to factor by this method, or what we like to call split B method, when you have three terms. So we factor by GCF, or greatest common factor, when we have two terms, and split B when we have three. So our first step is to label our A, B, and C. So remember, our A is the one that's in front of, is the number in front of this squared. So like here, this number, there's no number, so it's an understood 1. A would be 1. B would be positive 7, and C is just the number out front, and that is positive 12. All right, after we label, our next step is to multiply A times C. So that's what I have this box for. So A is 1 and C is 12. So 1 times 12 is 12. Okay? Next step is we want to find two factors. We love our factors of AC that add or subtract to equal B. All right, let's look at what that means. What is B? B is positive 7. So that's why I have this box here. So on this side, I'm going to list my factors, and on this one, I'm going to add them. Since we're working with all positive numbers, we don't have to deal with any negatives right now or think about any negatives. So what are the factors of 12? Well, first, let's start with 1. So 1 and 12, 1 times 12 equals 12, right? So then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 1 plus 12, and that equals 13. Is that the same number? No, so I need to keep going here. So I'm just going to keep going down my number line. 2 is a factor of 12, and that's 2 and 6. So 2 plus 6 is 8. That's not 7, so we got to keep going down. 3 is a factor of 12, and that would be 3 times 4 would be give me 12. 3 plus 4, that is 7. Bingo, bingo, we have a winner. This is now where we stop, and this is what we're going to use to rewrite step number 4, our trinomial. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the first term and the last term the same, but we're splitting B. This middle term is our B, remember? So we're going to split that using these. So watch me. Keep x squared the same. I'm going to change this 7x into a positive 3x, positive 4x. And I'm going to keep this c the same. All right, now I'm going to split this into two groups, this one and this one, and then I'm going to factor by GCF. So now it's factor by GCF because I got two terms, factor by GCF because I have two terms here. So remember your steps from GCF. Let me see if I can even find mine, which you should have yours readily available. So what did we do here? Our first step was looking at the coefficients first. So on this side, we've got a 1 and a 3. There's nothing we don't have a greatest common factor between 1 and 3. Second step was look at our variables, and our variable has to be common in both terms. Do we have common variable? We do. We have an x in each of them, so I can go ahead and factor out an x. And then remember what I'm doing. I don't have enough space here, but you might want to get another piece of paper, is I'm taking x squared divided by my GCF for what goes inside. So I know that I'm left with an x. 3x divided by x leaves me with a positive 3. All right. Now let's look at this side and do the same exact thing. We're looking at our numbers first. We do have a greatest common factor here, and that being 4. So I'm going to pull out my positive 4. Our variable is not in both of them. It's only in the 4, so we're going to leave that alone. Our greatest common factor is only 4. So 4x divided by 4 is x. 12 divided by 4 is a positive 3. So here's how, first off, when I get to this step, how I know I did something right. You see how inside our parentheses is the exact same? That means I've done something right. And this is one of our factors of our trinomial. And then the other one is what's here. So starting here, x plus 4. And this is how you will see your answer. It will be in these two, like this. Now, because I like to give you guys all of your tools that you can work with, there is a calculator sheet. I've written the instructions here. You can actually use your calculator when you're solving these, trying to find the factors of your trinomials. And I'm going to menu. Let me see if that will work. 3, 3, 1. And I'm pressing OK here. All right, and you see whenever you get your calculator, this one says A2, A1, and A0. This tells you what they represent, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you. So this first one is going to be whatever number is in front of the x squared. So here, so our A is 1. A1 is whatever our B is, or our number in front of our x. So 7. So I'm going to go ahead and label that on my notes. So this is our A, this is our B. And then that last one, A0, is always going to be our number. So 12. So here, all of our numbers were positive, so I put them in positive. If we had minus signs here, we would need to put in those minus signs. Otherwise, we're going to get the wrong answer. So now I press OK. And you can see my example right here on my calculator. And I press Enter. And it gives me -4 and -3. So this last step said change the sign. So anytime in your calculator it says negative, you put it as a positive. Isn't that what our answer was? It was +4. Anytime you see that we got a -3, so we changed it to +3. So let me show you one more example using this code, cheat code, on your calculator. So menu 3, 3, 1. Okay. My number, my A is a 1 again. I'm arrowing down. So this is my A, this is my B, and this is my C. See how this is a -2? So I'm going to put in -2 for my B. Again, we've got -3, so we've really got -3. All right, enter, enter, and I'm given, it's hard to see with all this lighting in here. There we go. We got -1 and 3. So how I'm writing that, I'm changing the sign. So I'm always going to put x first. So my first factor is x. This is -1, so I'm going to put +1. This is a +3, so I'm putting a -3. Okay, one more example. Let's do this one real fast. 2 for my A, a +9, and then a -5. Enter, and it gives me -5 and 1/2. So this is an important point. So again, my first one, I'm looking at that first number, it's -5, so I'm putting +5. When I'm given a fraction, the top number of the fraction goes after the x, and this is a +1/2. So it's a minus sign. And then the bottom of your fraction goes in front of that x. So this is your answer here. If you're confused on the fraction, get me to clarify a little bit better, and you'll see more of that on some examples later on.